to this community, to the world, and to the nation. If you listen real carefully and real solemnly in your spirit, you will hear what the Bible said before we got out of the first chapter of the book, Bishop. The blood is still speaking. The blood of Abel cried out, you can kill the people, but you cannot kill the voice of the blood. And the blood can't rest until reparations come. The blood can't rest. You can't cover over the blood by trying to make a tourist event out of a tragedy. You can't cover over the blood and talk about reconciliation when there's been no conciliation. Tulsa was one of more than a dozen from 1863 to 1923. Massacres that accounted for more death per capita than 9/11. And so even when folks say, like on January the 6th, they said this is the worst violence. Well, it is a terrible thing, but it's not the worst violence that's ever happened in America. The worst violence that's ever happened in America hadn't been told because it's the violence that happened to black communities, like Tulsa. There's a second quick thing. They said, put these stones here when they crossed over Jordan. And it took, the elders had to put the stones there. Why? So that when the children ask, why are these stones here? Somebody can say, this is where the Lord opened up the Jordan. You must lay down this stone because we still have things to fight for even in the so-called promised land. Years ago, people dropped bombs. Now they're dropping public policy. 15% of Oklahomans are poor. 250,000 people die a year from poverty. 750 a day before the pandemic. There's 77,000 black people in Oklahoma that live below the poverty line. That's 28%. But there are over 200,000 white folk that live below the poverty line. And let's be clear, the reason folk then didn't like Black Wall Street because Black Wall Street had the potential to hook up with progressive whites, and if the progressive whites and Black Wall Street hooked up, it would change the state and change the nation, and the same is still true today. So when we see this wall is not for us to remember the fights they fought. The wall is to give us the courage to fight the fights we still have to fight, to deal with economic justice, to deal with voter suppression.
Go ahead, brother.
And so the fight is on.
Yes.
And the last thing is, you all must be the resurrection.
Come on.
And last time I checked, the resurrection is more powerful than the first birth. And so the only way we can honor those that were killed and murdered is we must be more powerful than even they were, so that this and nothing like it ever happens again in public policy or in public violence.
Come on now.
Listen, the blood is still